Hey guys, this is Joe. Today I want to introduce you to our partner Vanta. Achieving ISO 27001 or SOC 2 compliance can unlock major growth for your company and build customer trust, but the process can be time intense and costly. Vanta automates compliance, getting your audit ready quickly and saving up to 85% of associated costs. And Vanta scales with your business, helping you enter new markets. Join 7,000 global companies like Atlassian, Flow Health, and Quora that trust Vanta. Claim 20% off Vanta at vanta.com/startupradio. That's vanta.com, spelled vanta.com/startupradio.
When you're an entrepreneur with a great idea, it can be daunting to find funding. Startup Raven takes the process out of your hands by helping entrepreneurs connect and learn about potential investors all in one place, without any long-filled forms or 1,000 questions. Sign up for early access at startupraven.com.
Welcome to Startuprad.io, your podcast and YouTube blog covering the German startup scene with news, interviews, and live events.
Hello and welcome everybody. This is Joe from Startuprad.io. Today I do have a green startup, I would like to say, here with me that is also working on a circular economy, more or less. But first, I would like to welcome one of the three co-founders. Hey, Konrad, how are you doing?
Hey, Joe, nice to meet you. Great to be here.
Totally my pleasure. The people out there who are listening to this, who are watching this, have actually seen or experienced work you've done, because you have been the former lead developer at Immobilien Scout 24, one of Germany's largest platforms where you can actually look for houses, apartments, slots to build a house and stuff like this. You have also been the head of engineering at Insurtech Friday. We talked about them also in our news. And you have been the architect and principal developer at Solaris Bank, the unicorn.
That's true.
Yeah, that sounds like you're pretty good at coding. Back in the days, I learned Visual Basic for applications and some Turbo Pascal.
Oh, wow. Nice. Yeah, I still enjoy coding. I try to keep doing it. At least a bit, but I also enjoy building teams and organizations, and this is, why I joined basically a row of startups now, and now I'm in for the real game to actually found my own company with Max and Janis. And yeah, we have exciting things ahead and already some great success.
As you said, you enjoy coding. You're the chief technology officer. Okay. How much time do you actually still spend in coding? Like 15 minutes a week or 15 minutes a year?
Well, I mean, coding is not the most important aspect of my job. The much more important aspect is, actually giving directions to the team, thinking about the general tech strategy, talking to partners, customers, and understanding their needs and translating this into an architecture and a tech strategy, and making this understandable to our teams and the inside of our company. Nevertheless, sometimes I need to build something myself and write some code. So this is rather, I would say, more of a hobby, but maybe 2 to 5 hours a week I spend coding, I would say. Or I pair with some of the developers, for instance, and just work on some actual real problems.
Would a lot of people don't understand who have never been to this job or in this area, the IT of even a small startup and even more complex, larger companies is like a jigsaw puzzle. And one person has to make sure all the pieces fit together, because otherwise you'll end up with not what you had in mind, and maybe even big mistakes, or you have to undo work or stuff like that. And that is basically your job. And I could tell the bigger the company gets, the more complex this jigsaw puzzle gets. And I do get the impression that the number of pieces in this jigsaw puzzle, talking about tools, technology, development, even hardware, is growing exponentially with the size of the company. Would you agree to that?
It often is. However, it should not. So
It should not.
my job is actually to limit the size of this puzzle, and keep it simple and accessible and manageable for everyone. Because oftentimes it's super tempting to just introduce a new tool or a new way of working, but oftentimes something that you just start with as an experiment that then sticks around for a long time. So it's super important to have a kind of standard tool set where everyone is proficient with and is able to handle, and that you build on that tool set.
Mm-hmm. I was wondering, when I've seen your CV, and we already talked about it, you stayed quite some time with very well-known names in the Berlin fintech sector. And then you have been the principal engineer and architect at Solaris Bank until January 2022. And then all of a sudden you start Reverse.Supply. What happened there? You basically went from being a very good and very responsible coder in fintech into starting your own company, helping to establish secondhand shops for brands. What happened there? What drove you there?
Yeah, there's not just a single reason, but several contributing factors, as often. One was that I love building products and build something that people out there actually need and love. And sustainability, bringing more sustainability to everyone's life, and making this world a little bit better, at least, was important to me with everything going on in the world, climate crisis, war. I think it's important to do something that is close to your heart, and not just earn money. And while I enjoy building companies and teams and architectures, I wanted to combine this with a mission that is close to my heart. And also another aspect was actually, after these 2 years of Corona and remote work, lockdown, I really needed to do something exciting. So I thought, now is the time. I've actually 2 kids, which are already grown up. So they are, this week, my daughter has her 22nd birthday. 22nd already. My son follows 2 weeks later with his 18th birthday. And so kids are done, basically. Not completely, but it's not the hypercare phase anymore. And so I felt ready to really start something exciting, new. And even if it means spending a lot of time with actual work, thinking about problems.
Mm-hmm. And you're one of 3 co-founders of Reverse.Supply. How did this happen that you 3 guys got together and decided to do what Reverse.Supply right now does, meaning secondhand shops with logistics behind it as a white label for brands? How did this happen? How did you make this decision, and where did you meet your co-founders?
So Jannis and Max, they're basically old friends from Paderborn. I think they know each other from school or university. And they met again in Berlin, and Max was in this business already, in this industry of fashion, but not in the sustainable side of things, but rather on the fast fashion side of things. And he also felt the need to do something more sustainable and more close to his heart. And the two met again in Berlin and thought what they can do. And then they thought, well, we need someone who is really proficient with technology. And as oftentimes you ask around in your networks, and someone knew someone who knew me, and this is how we met. We had a few talks. We liked each other. We thought the idea is great. Let's rock it.
Mm. And was it already from the real start that you looked at second-hand shops as a service? Was that your initial idea, or did you bounce around a few ideas and then settled on one?
It was quite early in the kind of ideation phase, I would say. So what we are building is a marketplace, basically not only the shopping side, but also the selling side, because you need to have the goods that you sell. And there's a huge market out there. So especially when you look at the younger generations, when I look at the generation of my daughter, they very naturally buy secondhand. And oftentimes the problem is that there is not just enough high value items available there. So the market is often driven by fast fashion, new editions of the same stuff over and over again that needs to be sold. And what we enable is to actually give items a second or third or fourth life. And this makes most sense for items that have a higher value and are not basically worn out after a few months.
Yeah, I know that you buy some stuff and then it goes through the laundry like 2, 3, 4 times, and then it loses its shape, and basically some of the stuff gets undone, and then you basically only have the option to throw it out. I know what you mean. We are actually getting a little bit ahead of us here. I was first going. You already talked about that you cannot do this with every brand, but you are working with some very interesting brands. Personally, I knew Backside and Globetrotter, but there are more companies already working with you that you have as reference on your website, right?
Yes, there's, for instance, Armed Angels, which is a well-known brand in Germany for sustainable fashion. Then there's Natur will be launched when this goes live, pretty sure. Also a sustainable fashion brand from Germany. There's Jan and June, Daria D, some smaller fashion brands. And we are in talks with a lot of other big names also included. So the demand is high.
The interesting thing you said is that the demand for second-hand fashion is much higher than you can satisfy right now. So that means there's a lot of people going into all the shops you're offering and go out without finding anything, even though they would like to buy something, right?
Yes, that's true. So we all have a lot of stuff in our closets, more than we actually need. And this is the challenge we are up to, making this available to people. And we also have a few ideas, of course, how to enable this. But this is true. Actually, we could sell more if we would have more to sell.
Mm-hmm. And with this reuse, you extend the life cycle of a fashion item, meaning usually somebody buys it doesn't matter if man or woman, wears it a few times, and then basically gets put deeper and deeper into the closet, and at one point you just lift it out and you throw it away. And that is the cycle you want to break, right?
Yes, exactly. So, people move around oftentimes, and also, they have these values, and we will make it a kind of natural thing to use the value you have in your closets to maybe pay with it, for instance, to trade it in for other items, not necessarily new items, but when you want something different, a few times a year, maybe even, you cannot just add and add and add. So you need to get rid of stuff, and instead of just throwing it away, we enable take-back solutions that factor in the actual value that's still in the clothes, so it gets reused and reintroduced to the market.
Reused and reintroduced. That is exactly the point, because you guys are not only doing the shiny side of things, basically the re-commerce shops for the brands, but you are also a logistics provider. That means, my understanding is, you get sent. That is something I have not understood. Do you get sent like containers straight from the brands, or do you actually get all the very small and tiny packages of all the people sending the stuff back?
Yes. Yes. So the like organic inbound of items from actual people out there cleaning up their closets is actually the larger part of the business and the more important one of the business. And logistics is important to have because, I mean, there are peer-to-peer marketplaces like Vinted, eBay Kleinanzeigen in Germany, pretty famous.
There was something like Kleiderkreisel. Is it still around?
Yes. Isn't that Vinted nowadays?
Oh, they rebranded. I'm sorry.
I'm not so sure. To be honest, I'm just a techie.
I'm just a podcaster.
But the problem on those peer-to-peer marketplaces is that you have a very different experience than buying new stuff from a well-known brand, from basically a brand that you trust, and where you have a shopping experience that is trustworthy, and where okay, if I don't like it, I can send it back, and I will be refunded. No worries. I don't need to meet someone on, I don't know, a specific time of the day at a specific corner when it's raining, and then the other one forgot about it or is late. So all those worries I don't want to have with secondhand items, and this is what we're providing by also covering the logistics side of things. So every item that goes through our process has a clearly defined quality. All the attributes are defined by us and are guaranteed by us. And it is sent out from our warehouse. So the time you buy it, it actually gets sent out. And you can also return it. You have basically the same shopping experience like with new items, but with trusted secondhand items.
So that means you get the small packages. So there is personal imagination, a lot of delivery cars and trucks coming in every day. You have a facility close to the former airport Tegel in Berlin. Then you have a lot of people whose job it is to open up those packages. By the way, something I also enjoy, opening up packages. And how do you call them? Unboxing professionals? I'm not sure. But you have people who do that. Then all the stuff has to be tagged in order to make sure you can like see from where it was coming, from which person who sent it in, and then it has to go through the laundry, ironing if needed, and then at one point you have to repackage it. And also, in the meantime, I assume after the laundry, you have someone who has a serious look at it and says, "Yeah, that's the quality we need." Oh no, there's something. So, is that how it works right now?
Yes, in general, this is the process. So we have a grading process where really professional people like tailors or designers work and look at every single item. Part of the process is also automated, so we have our own software. That's why I'm on board. That brings some efficiency to the process and that streamlines and automates this whole process. So over the time, more and more knowledge of these workers will be factored into the software. So more and more can be automated, which is important because we want to scale and cover much more of the market than we currently do. We have this grading process where every single item is identified, categorized, the quality is defined, all the product attributes are defined. We don't actually launder items. That would maybe also be a bit expensive. So if people send in items that are clearly dirty, smelling, unfortunately, we reject them. So this is what we expect of people, to actually send us items that you at least want to touch, and we are not a waste bin. Sorry to say that.
Totally fine. That sounds. We talked about this before. That you now get your logistics down and get the processes streamlined, and as you say, increasingly automate this stuff. That is currently the point you are right now, right?
Yes. So this is one part of the business, like the internal processes, which we will automate further and optimize further. Other part of the business is the external one, the marketplace, basically. So where we buy items, we sell items, and where we see this huge potential of a lot of people looking for secondhand. A lot of people have high value items in their closets and often don't really know what to do with it. And this is basically the sides of the market that we will connect, and where we are working on different channels. We already have a trade-in portal that brands can label. So they use this as an offering to their customers, that their customers can trade in items or just send in items for take back. Because another important aspect, the whole industry will need to have take back solutions, at least in Europe, from next year on. So this marketplace side of the product is another important aspect of it. And what we will enable here is really incentivize people who have the items in their closet to use them, give them a second life, and create some value out of it for them.
So you've been talking about regulations. So basically, starting, when was it? 2024. The sellers of clothing have to take back clothing, and I do believe that's a big business opportunity for you. That's one of the reasons we're talking today. And I would be interested in two more questions. One of them, you're working with certain brands. That means you only take back items from those brands because you work with them?
Well, this actually depends. So we want to sell a lot of things, not just for specific brands. And we already work with marketplaces like Bergzeit or Globetrotter, who are not single brand outlets, but actually have a lot of interesting outdoor equipment on their side. So we are basically having different inbound channels, different outbound channels, and we are able to cater the needs of the brands for sure. So they have the right items in their shop that fit their assortment and also fit their customer base and their target audience. Yeah.
But you're not necessarily only limited to those brands.
No, we are not limited to these brands. No. So it depends a bit on the goals that the brands, our partners, have with this solution. Some just want to have it on their website, and they just want to have the label of sustainability, and that's fair. Others are really interested in enabling this market, and for those who are more interested in the sustainability aspect and are not yet seeing the full potential, we will enable them or point them to this potential and incentivize to take part in this market. We offer basically to limit the inbound and outbound that goes, or it appears to go to their channels or their branded channels on their website, to their brand only. So, for instance, Armed Angels only sells Armed Angels, right? And also offers trade-in only to their customers for their own brand. Other marketplaces are much more open to other brands.
I see. Another question would be where you're actually selling the stuff. So that means, of course, in the shops, you already provide for your brands, but is there also like a second, third outlet where you work with other secondhand platforms, other merchants?
Not yet, actually. So at the moment, we started with branded shops that basically piggyback on the already existing audience of the brands. And this is already pretty successful. But as you mentioned, there are other channels that are maybe worthwhile to use to sell our goods. At the moment, we could sell more even on the channels we have.
Mm-hmm. I see. So basically, you're not in need of additional selling channels because there's not enough supply for you here. When we've been talking about the facility you have close to Tegel, I was wondering, how is it actually there? Are we talking about like the size of a normal apartment? Are we talking about the size of a few soccer fields? What is the size of the operation there? And can I imagine that there are long rows of shelves? And one of them is for Bergzeit, one of them is for Armed Angels, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, it's actually I don't know the exact number of square meters. To be honest, it's actually 3 floors, and you can definitely play soccer there. I already did this with my dog. In the beginning, when the warehouse was pretty empty, just before we moved there with all our items, because animals are not allowed for obvious reasons in a warehouse with high value garments. You can definitely play soccer there. It's quite spacious. We separate the floors by basically storage, grading, and photography. So photography is another part of the process. that we cover. So every item that was not how do you say that in English? Taking a photo from, photographed. We also take a professional photo.
I see. Bothered you enough about those non-coding details? Sorry about that. I just want to mention you are also the winner of the German Eco Design Award in the category service. Congratulations, by the way. And of course, we're getting close to the end because I'm already bothering you for more than 30 minutes with the questions here. Are you currently in a process of looking for, or would you be open to talk to international investors?
Yes, of course. As I said, the market is huge. We are looking for further scaling up our operations and our product offerings, and we are always open to talk with potential investors interested in that area.
Mm-hmm. I see investor. So you raised already an angel round, a pre-seed and a seed, early funding, last one in early 2022. In total, 5.5 million. I want to go through a little bit. Your investors, Dutch Founders Fund is in there. Business angel Capnemic Ventures, pretty well known. Push Ventures, Shoria Ventures. It's an angel club. Yeah, so already some professional investors there, also with some good reputation, and people can reach out to you because in our show notes on Medium, we will link your LinkedIn profile. And last but not least, the last question. Are you currently hiring?
Yes, please have a look at our website. You'll find all the current job openings there.
Actually, if you go onto the show notes in linked on Medium, we will link it there. I found you have a job site on Good Jobs, and that's what we will link here.
Cool. Thank you very much.
Great. Totally my pleasure. Konrad, first, best of luck in scaling and automating your processes. I think that's really a good idea and something that is needed. And secondly, of course, let us know when you guys going to expand further, like talk in a few more floors, and send us pictures when you play with your dog there before the merchandise moves in.
Yeah, definitely. Will do.
Great. It was a pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Thank you very much, Joe, for hosting.
Totally my pleasure. Bye-bye.
Bye.
That's all, folks. Find more news, streams, events, and interviews at www.Startuprad.io. Remember, sharing is caring.